Welcome in everyone to episode 120 of Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise. I'm your host as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins here every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, just about every Friday night. It's the last weekend, and we'll have to see next weekend too. Um, Try to do it for sure next week, but it'll depend on travel plans. But we'll talk about what we got coming up next weekend as well. Obviously, we've got the end of the season coming up, so take a look at where everything kind of lies in our division, the region, and across the ABA. So we've got that for tonight's episode. Obviously, recapping the past couple of weeks then too, and looking at the rest of our schedule, what the potential could be for playoffs and such. So that is what we've got for tonight, episode 120. So let's get started with looking across the league for the past couple of scoreboard here. So over on here, let me see. Last weekend would have been the 14th. Would have been here, so Valentine's Day and such. Looking across what we had from that weekend. I see the Austin Bats on there still uh, racking up the wins, 170, 134. Got us on there. The against the Kings. Yeah, we were on the road against the Kings on Saturday. 118, 144 loss. Let's see if we've got stats for this one. So not for us, but you do see on here Courtney Ware with 50. You know, uh, 50 points there. Obviously, that's a huge number. Normally, it's Cam Mitchell leading them, but it looked like he came off the bench in this one with 19. Marlon Lyons was the second leading scorer with 30. And we've got Cameron Moore with 20 and 10. It looks like Hunter there has a triple double, 14, 10, and 10. So big win there for the Kings. We're still looking for our first win against the Kings. We've had a lot of matchups against them. They are one of the top ranked teams in the ABA. That brings them up to 11 and 2. That drops us to 7 and 4. So that's where that stands. 144, 118 from last weekend. Looks like the Akron Aviators and Rochester game may not have happened with the 0-0. The Gym Rats took on the Florida Tropics. Tropics with a 112, 106 win. The Gym Rats again, they're a professional ABA team from Japan. So always cool to see them in these kind of matchups. Looks like the Lucky Ducks got their second win, I do believe, on the season. Just double check that, make sure I'm not mistaking that. Yeah, second win there for the Lucky Ducks. Got their stats up here too. A 1-point victory though, 107, 106 over the Clarksville Phoenix. Looks like they were led by Spearman with 33 points. You got a couple of guys here on double digits as well. Just naming them off. Looks like Petro with 10, Tribble 15, Whitfield 12, Wiggly 15. And then got a double double there for Tribble with 15 and 11 boards. And then also with 11 boards is Hoskins, their center. Second win there for the Lucky Ducks, one of the other teams I like to keep an eye on across the league. Shuckers and Aces. I'm guessing that may not have happened either. Then in our region, 402 Elite took down Texas, 131 to 17. Taking a look on what happened Sunday, got SVP Silicon Valley Panthers 146. 97 victory, keeping them up there in the top. Mississippi Silverbacks, like that one was a forfeit, possibly against ABA Nationals. I know Silverbacks still another undefeated team there. Got the Indiana Lions with a 133 to 100 victory over the Indiana Shuckers. And then we had our game that was scheduled against the Hessa Bucket. That was a forfeit, so we do get the victory there, although the game did not take place. This was a big matchup actually right here. The Buffalo Extreme traveled to Pittsburgh to take on Steel City. The Yellow Jackets in a close matchup ultimately though get their second loss on the season. So there are two losses against the defending champion Fury, and then the number one overall team, the Buffalo Extreme, 151, 144. In that matchup there, you can see Buffalo Extreme here pretty solidly dispersed as far across the board. 26 for Haskins and McRae each, Ivy with 25. Aaron Jones, 18, just across the board. Pretty much all their guys getting the ball and doing what they can. Steel City does not have the stats for them, but you got that for the Extreme. Steel City, though, is the number one team in our division, still leading atop the blue division that we are in now. Indiana Legends fell to the Chicago Rebels at home, 108 to 99. Obviously, that's important for us with the division standings. And it looks like Nashville Aces also stay undefeated there, 117, 102, or 101. Then we take a look at the upcoming week here. So tomorrow, we've got a double header weekend actually. So tomorrow, we are going to be on the road. Let's pull us up first, and then we'll take a look across the league. So here you can see we are taking on the Windy City Inferno. So this is going to be our first game, I do believe, against the Inferno. I'm remembering correctly. So I am looking forward to this. The Inferno, one of the top teams we've seen over the past couple of years across the league. As far as other games that are important to keep an eye on, obviously the Lions and Capitals. Lions, just a little bit behind us on the standings right now. So they are definitely going to be trying to get themselves up higher in the rankings there. Also got Gym Rats against the Bats. I mean, even though that's not a game necessarily for us to keep an eye on, I think across the league that's a cool game to keep an eye on against one of the top teams in the nation. The Japanese ABA team gets their chance there. As far as us though, Hessa Bucket against the Legends, that is going to be a bigger game. Legends would be the team as believe, behind the Lions right now as far as the 4 seed, either them or the Aviators. So when we get there in a minute, we'll pull up the division standings and such. And it looks like we've also got the Fury taking on the Shuckers. So that's a not a divisional one anymore, but a regional matchup to keep an eye on. Um, And these two are also regional. The Nashville Aces against Clarksville Phoenix. Obviously battles of Tennessee there. And then we got the Akron Aviators versus the Louisville Pros. That one definitely has the chance to be impactful for our division as far as standings go. So that's a one I'd also keep an eye on. Then on Sunday, it looks like the Lions got a doubleheader weekend as well, and they've got a matchup against the St. Louis Spirit. So for sure they're going to be trying to look to sweep that weekend and try to jump up in the divisional standings if they're able to do so. Windy City Inferno has a doubleheader weekend. They play the Rebels on Sunday. And then we've got our home game on Sunday. We play the Ohio Kings again. So another matchup against the ever tough opponent, the Ohio Kings. And I feel like after this game, they've got to be like our most commonly played opponent. So always fun to play against them. But hopefully we can get a win. Get our first win against the Kings here. Um, That's really it for the division. Then we take a look, and we're gonna skip, and look into the following week as well, just because the league ends on March 1st. So next weekend is the end of the regular season. So this is really it as far as the games go. And really, this is going to kind of set after this week, pretty much break down what we have as far as possibilities with playoffs. Pretty much, squared away as much as you can be. But looking into the next weekend, we've got the Louisville Pros taking on the Shuckers. So that's not necessarily within us in our division anymore. That's a regional matchup, but it could still have some impact in the red division. The that's a big game actually. The Fury and the Lions. Obviously the Lions trying to sweep as many games as they can. Um, to jump up into I believe they're the 3 seed right now. They're obviously, we're the 2 seed. Um, and they're gonna try to catch us on that. But a game against the Fury to end the season, that is a big game there. Fury as well with Windy City in their division. They're gonna have both of these teams are gonna hope some teams lose these games over the past couple of or the next couple of weeks, and they're gonna have to win these games out to jump up. Big one again for our division again is going to be Akron Aviators and Ohio Kings. Akron right now, I believe, is the 3 or 4 seed. We'll get that pulled up here in a minute. But depending on how that goes, they want to try to jump up just as much too. Ohio Kings, I believe, are kind of solidly set in that number 2 seed in their division, unless something crazy would happen with the Aces over the next couple of weeks. They've got Chicago Rebels 402 Elite, again, not our division, but regional importance. And then us, obviously, the Missouri Capitals and the Instigators. That's also Motorsports Night. We'll hit the promo here in a little bit on that. But, big game, big game, last game of the year. or last game of regular season, last home game scheduled. So that is big, and that also makes a big difference as far as the matchups for the playoffs. Got that. Buffalo Extreme, not necessarily with us importance, but league-wise, the number one team has opportunity to finish out an undefeated season against the Herkimer OGs. Then on Sunday, the very final day of the ABA season, St. Louis Spirit take on the Windy City Inferno. Obviously, a lot of these games are going to try to get these games into hopefully get one more win for whatever team you want. And then the Legends take on the Shuckers. Again, that's also a one to keep an eye on within our division. Could make impact. And Buffalo Extreme actually play Saratoga on Sunday, the March 1st. So that's going to be their last game. But you also got the Louisville Pros against the Lions. So Lions, for sure, are going to try to get some wins on there at the end of the season. And I don't see, let's scroll through here again. I don't see the Steel City Yellow Jackets on any of these. So they may have wrapped up their games by then. If not, maybe rescheduling here or there. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump over actually to Minotaur, their site, because they do an amazing job, and they definitely deserve this shout out. And if you don't follow them already on social media, Minotaur Streaming, they do an amazing job on keeping up with the Central region in the ABA. They're definitely, I would say, the go-to source for that. They're going to be on top of the scheduling, the scores, and kind of any relevant information, I feel like, within the central region of the ABA. So we're going to jump over there and pull up. We're going to pull up the playoff information first. And then we're going to look at the scores specifically in the division, even though we looked at over on the other page, they have it kind of all set together so you can kind of see a little bit better. And then also the standings are, I feel like, better on Minotaur's side than what you see on the ABA side. So let's jump over and share the screen over there. Again, I'm still haven't got the keyboard fixed, sort of using the stylus. But let's jump over there. So playoffs, this is the information that we have, for the teams. It's also in a nicer presentation-wise, I feel like, for the viewing presence over from Minotaur's website. Their website, again, is minotaurstreaming.com. Then you can follow them on all socials. Minotaur Streaming. They also stream games, and they do an amazing job with that. So if you're not able to make it out to some games, obviously watch the Instigators game. But if you have a chance to watch some of the other games, go and jump over on their YouTube channel there too. So this is what we got as far as the information for the playoffs. Championship is in Atlanta this year, which is not that far of a drive for me. So I think even if we're not there, maybe I shall represent. Because I can make a weekend trip out of that. That'll be fun. But division playoffs. So division quarterfinals is going to be the next weekend after the end of the season. So that is the March 6th through 8th weekend. And as for those of you looking at your calendars, yes, that is Friday potentially. There is a possibility for a Friday game. I think that's more or less to do with the bigger divisions. I would think. Because I feel like most teams play typically the Saturday and Sunday schedules. Not super common we see the Friday games, so I would expect, with our division, most likely it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. But obviously, when we have official word on that, then that shall be shared, so everyone can adequately plan. Um, but we've got the quarterfinals and semifinals, so you're going to have the bigger pool of teams in that for the division. Then you're going to have the division championship um, on the 14th and 15th, so the very next week there. Um, and all of these are actually, in a row as far as it goes until we get to the championship weekend. There's a break between the week prior. So we've got that. Quarterfinals, semifinals is very next week after the season ends. Then you got the division championship. Then you're going to have your regional matchups. So the winners of each division facing off against each other. Then you're going to have the regional championships the following week. Once we have all those figured out, the champions for each region, the top 4 teams, go to the ABA Championship weekend in Atlanta, April 10th through 12th, which that is also a Friday. I don't think there's typically much going on that Friday, but we'll see when we get closer. So that is in Atlanta. Obviously, more information to be shared once we have that, with specific games and scheduling and whatnot. I think I have a picture. And I'm scrolling through just to see. Yes, I do have that. So tentatively, as far as what I have on here is the division quarterfinals, the play-in game would tentatively, again, obviously all this will get announced officially, would be the 4 and 5 seeds in each division, or in our division, the 4 and 5 seed. Then that game is going to take place either on the 6th or the 7th. So again, I think most teams are going to be on the 7th. Maybe some will do the 6th as far as scheduling goes. I feel like typically it's going to be that Saturday. We have a double header game. The other game that will take place on Saturday, again, according tentatively to the scheduling, will be the 2 and 3 seeds. So you have the play-in game, then you have the 2 and the 3 seed, and then on the 8th, that Sunday, tentatively would be the number 1 seed versus the winner of the play-in game. So that is as far as the division quarterfinals go, and then obviously semifinals. Quarterfinals, I guess, is the play-in game as far as how it goes. But so it's the 4 and the 5 are the play-in. So this is important to note. 4 and 5 is the play-in. 2 and 3 is the set matchup, and then 1 versus the play-in is the other matchup for the division. Then the division championship will be the winner of the 2 and 3 game versus the winner of the 1 in the play-in game. Then obviously winners of each of their respective divisions go on, and they will play in the regional semifinals. And the way that it is going to be currently scheduled to be set up is the alpha conferences play each other, and then the beta conferences play each other, and then winners of each of those respective go to the regional championships. So a little bit more clarity as far as what I have on there. You know, with that, I think we shall look at the standings here first, and then we'll look at go to the blue. Now that we're in that, so standings from this past weekend. And again, it's just super nice and convenient the way they got this laid out on Minotaur. So Steel City, pretty much they are set. I don't see any way that they lose that number 1 seed. So they've locked themselves, I would say, into that 1 seed. And they're also going to be hosting as a result of that. So as far as logistics, think about it for the other teams in the Division Two. Steel City is by far the furthest east of those teams. So they are going to have the home field or home court advantage in basketball, home court advantage. I would say by a decent amount, because it is definitely a ways travel. You know what? Let's pull this up while we're saying this. It's a ways travel from Fishers to Pittsburgh. Just a rough estimate, obviously not specific. Um, that is a 5.5 hour drive, it looks like. So definitely some traveling involved there. We got a lot of teams in Indiana. Actually, we got us, we got the Lions, we got the Legends and the Shuckers, and then you got the Akron Aviators over in Ohio. So right now, the way it is, Steel City's #1. They're pretty much locked in that. I would say the middle portion is kind of still up for grabs in some aspect. We're 7-4. We've got 2 tough games this weekend, and then we've got one more game coming up on the following weekend to wrap things up. So the very worst we could be is 7-7. Obviously, that is not what we want to see. Even if we drop these 2 games and then we win one more, that puts us at 8-6, and then that puts us obviously kind of more or less waiting and seeing how some of these other games play out. Especially the Lions have a bunch more games, this weekend and next weekend. Legends have a few more games too. But with the way that it currently sits, the Lions, I would say, have a shot to jump us, depending on how things play out. They're at 8-9 right now. So say they win out the rest of the season. I believe they have 4 more games. That could be a 12-9 record. So there is a possibility they jump over us. Again, still up in the air. After this weekend, a little bit more clear. The Aviators, I believe they only have, from what I've seen, a couple more games too. So even if they go, say, 6-5, unless I'm mistakenly not remembering a game on there, if they win out, I think we still should be able to stay above them. And I think that's really important for us, is going to be trying to stay in that 2 seed if possible. Really we could afford to maybe drop down to the 3 seed. We'd prefer obviously to be the 2 seed, because of how home field or home court works. So if the Steel City Yellow Jackets perchance lose to the play-in team, the #2 team then would host the next weekend. If that were to happen and we're the #2 seed, obviously then we have the home court advantage. Huge benefit. But if Steel City wins, then the 2 and the 3 are essentially negligible as long as you win the respective game, which if it's between what it currently is, it looked like we're probably going to be playing the Lions in that matchup. And then the Yellow Jackets are most likely going to be playing the winner of the Aviators and Legends matchup. That's currently how it sits. Again, there's still a chance for things to move just a little bit. Really, I think us and the Lions are the 2 that can jump back and forth the easiest, depending on best case and worst case scenarios. Aviators and Legends could possibly move a little bit. If the Legends win out, there's a chance they could jump up. Aviators, if they win out and get a couple of more games on there, they could also jump up there too. That's what we've got in our division. I do want to jump over to the red division as well, since that was our original division going into the season. As far as that one goes, it's a little bit more solid for the top teams. Aces are solidly in that #1 spot. They're going to play the winner of the play-in. The Kings solidly in that #2 spot. Now this is here where it gets tricky. The #3 team would be right now the Phoenix. they can kind of control their own destiny when it comes to that. At 5 and 6, you could say the same thing about us, honestly, controlling your own destiny um, when it comes to that. But the 2 and the 3, if the Phoenix hold on to that, they would go on to face the Kings, one of the top teams in the nation. And then the Commerce and Pros would face off in the play-in. And then they would play the Aces. So, I mean, tough matchup regardless of, if you're in that bottom 3 there, you're going to have a tough matchup regardless of whether you're in the 3, 4, or 5 spot, it looks like. Um, but we'll look at the schedule. So schedule for the blue division, our division for this week. Saturday. So tomorrow we've got our game is at 2 p.m. in Chicago against the Inferno. Again, I mentioned you can watch Minotaurs streaming their broadcast of these games. This is a big game for us, actually. After our game, depending on how the outcome of that, the Lions and the Legends. Lions traveling to not far, but traveling to take the Legends on. They're going to be broadcasting that game live. So as far as it goes with us, I think technically we would be Legends fans in that game. We also have the wins and the tiebreakers over the Legends, as far as I'm aware. The Lions did beat us, so I think we're going to lean towards more than the Legends side on that. For playoff purposes. And then we've also got the Fury and the Shuckers in Indiana on Saturday. The Yellow Jackets and Extreme, that game did get canceled. That would have been a great matchup. Two of the very top teams in the nation. After a game this past weekend. Then we got the Aviators and the Pros. So again, that's also an important one for us to keep an eye on as far as scoreboard watching, because of how many games the Aviators have, and they're 1 game behind 500 right now. So if they win that, they jump to that 500 mark. Then we've got our game at home on Sunday against the Ohio Kings. That's at 4:30. So we hope to see you guys there. We've got 2 more home games. This one, and we got Motorsports Night coming up. But that's what we've got for our schedule for this week. And we'll take a look at the Red Division as well too, with us being originally from that. Pretty much all the games we've already mentioned. The only exception there is the Aces and the Phoenix Saturday night there in Tennessee. But we'll jump back off of that. But again, I highly recommend, if you're looking to keep up on this, Minotaur is really good at keeping up and getting their scores up when games end. They're really on top of that. That way you can kind of update yourself on the standings. And then, once we have everything finalized, then they also update the standings too. And they kind of share along all that information in a very efficient manner. And they also stream the game. So we got that Lions and Legends game, definitely keep an eye on that one too this weekend. We're going to jump back over to the screen with the stats, or load that one, I should say. So we've got that as far as points per game leader. Indiana Legends Mike Saunders Jr. at 47.1 points per game. Crazy. 47 points per game. Then we've got the Steel City Yellow Jackets, 44.6, Dylan Cormier. So 2 of the very 2 top points per games in our division. You also got in 4th in our division is Kenny Holmes Jr. at 41.8. Not to skip over Mook Bates from the heart of Central PA, the Central PA team, at 42.3 points per game. And I believe that's going to be the Mississippi Silverbacks, Quintarius Porter at 5th with 39.6. Windy City Inferno, the team we'll be playing against tomorrow, is Rodney Gaston Jr. with 35.7. The Ohio Kings, Courtney Ware just dropped 50 on us, jumps him up to number 8 in the nation, 33.9 points per game. Rebounds, we've got the Louisville Pros leading the way with Anthony Southers. He's at 15.9 rebounds per game. Take a look at what STO is. Greg Holloway there for the Stonecrest Strong Steppers. Second in the nation with 15.6 rebounds. Just behind him is Kylan Fairley for the North Tulsa Natives with 15.4 rebounds. Also with Windy City Inferno, who we play tomorrow, Reggie Gallion at 14.9. Walters Pierre Walters with 14.7 for the top five. Then we take a look at assists per game. We got Cameron Moore. Take a look at what team that is, at 14.2, leading the way. Houston Red Storm. So Houston Red Storm, Cameron Moore leading the way, 14.2. Christopher Cromartie with the Atlanta Aliens, 13.5. Guy we've seen multiple times, Dominique Williams at 11.8 assists per game with the Louisville Pros, number 3 in the nation. His teammate Shamar Overstreet at number 5, 10.5. Not to skip over Michael Brown though at number 4 with 11.4. DJ Little, who we will be seeing again with we won't be seeing. We won't be seeing, but we'll keep an eye on those games with the Nashville Aces at 10.3. Sixth, Steel City Yellow Jackets, Kenny Holmes Jr. at 9.9, just under that 10 mark, is seventh. And we also got for the Aces, George Stanbury in the top 10. Steals per game, leading the nation by far, is Dominique Williams with 8.5 with the Louisville Pros. And his teammate, Shamor Overstreet, is 8th in the nation with 5. Got Trey Baker at 6.3, second in the nation. Cortez Cheney at 6.1, third. Charles Chase, 6.0. And Calvin Goodwin, 5.7 at number 5. So we've already taken a look at the blue and the red division. So these are the alpha conferences too. So when it comes to the matchups, winners of the blue and the red division will be playing each other. Then the beta conferences, you have the black and the white. Chicago Fury, looks like they actually jumped up right there. This is a crazy division actually. Fury at 15-3, Knights at 13-3, Inferno at 12-2. Lots to get figured out in the very last couple of weeks here in that division as far as who gets the number 1 seed and who gets home rights. Even though they're all in Chicago, it's a home court that matters. Then in the white division, it looks like 402 Elites pretty much got that one squared away. And then North Tulsa Natives, I pretty much set in that number 2. Over in the East, we got the New England Lightning pretty much solidly in that one in the Alpha Blue. Alpha White is Buffalo Extreme, are the number 1 team in the nation. So even though Wyoming Valley Clutch still showing also undefeated at 16-0, Buffalo is going to have that number 1 seed, assuming the records stay undefeated. Saratoga is not too far behind at 11-3, but they're still going to have some tough play in games here in that division. You might have some really good teams missing out on the playoffs in that division. Then you've got the Beta Black, Long Island Strong Arm at 13-2, and the Hartford Colts at 12-2. That one is up for grabs. Beta Red, we've got the 96ers pretty solidly ahead at 11-2. Delaware Dogs kind of close there at 9-3. So those are 2 to kind of maybe compete there. And then Richmond Ramchargers also above 500 in that division. In the South, in the Alpha Black, You've got the Silverbacks undefeated, still pretty much locked away in that number one. Number two up for grabs, so between the Gladiators and Pythons, 9-5 and 9-6 respectively. The Alpha Blue, we've got the Austin Bats. So it looks like got their first loss on the season, 16-1. Let's see where that happened. Oh, it looks like that happened back in January. So somehow I did not catch that earlier. They lost, it looks like, to Alamo City All Stars in an odd game there for the score. But 16-1 there. Alamo City just behind them at 14-2. So they're going to be your top two teams in that. Beta Red, we've got the Chattanooga Strike at 13-2. Atlanta Defenders at 12-2, just behind them. Also Columbus Skyhawk right there at 10-3. So the top teams in that division still up for grabs. Then you got the Beta White. This is an interesting one with only two teams in that division. You got the Tropics and the County Royals. So I think they're just going to play each other. Then in the West, you got the Las Vegas Royals leading the way in the Alpha Division A, 13-5. Not really anyone with clear amount of games close to that. And the Bull Snakes with a winning record, though, 6-2. Could maybe have a chance. Alpha Division B is going to be Guy Levy Legends leading the way, I guess, technically. I don't know about that. I think the San Diego Mob actually lead that division 11-2. Then it's going to be Guy Levy at 14-5, and the Suns there at 11-4. Then the Hounds at 10-4. So still lots up for grabs in that. In the San Jose division, the Beta A is the Wolfpack at 500, and the Knights still looking for a win. But there's two teams, so I'm sure they play each other. Beta Division B, Silicon Valley Panthers 17-0, still undefeated. They've locked that number one seed, and they will be playing some of those other teams there, the Golden Tigers or the Delta Stars. So that's what we've got for that. Let's jump over to the top 25. So top 25, the Buffalo Extreme are your number one team in the nation. Number two team is now a tie with the Silicon Valley Panthers and the Nashville Aces. Still undefeated there, 16-0 for all of those teams. Then they've got the Wyoming Valley Clutch at number three, also undefeated. They are in the same division as the Extreme, though, so it looks like there is a clear division between that division. The Extreme above the Clutch. The Austin Bats, the only team with a loss, with one loss, I should say, and the only team with a loss above an undefeated team. The Mississippi Silverbacks at 12-0, undefeated on the season, still number 5, even though they have an undefeated record, and the Bats have a one loss now on theirs. Then we got the two lost teams, a whole bunch of them there. So we've got the New England Lightning at 6. The Steel City Yellow Jackets drop with a couple of losses to number 7 at 13-2. Alamo City 8. Long Island Strong Arm 9. Chattanooga Strike at 10. All those have 2 losses. And then here is where you get interesting. The next 3 teams all in the same division. The Fury at 15-5, number 11. The Knights at 13-3, number 12, and the Inferno at 12-2, number 13. So we play the number 13 team tomorrow. You still got some 2-loss teams coming up, though. The Atlanta Defenders at 12-2, Hartford Colts 14-15. Then you got the Guy Levy, you got 402 Elite there, also in our division at 12-3. Or not in our division, in our region, 12-3, number 16 in the nation. Then you've got the Ohio Kings, who we play on Sunday. So we play the number 13, then we play the number 20 team. And this is after playing already the number 20 team last week. So we are quite literally 3 top 20 matchups in a row. Um, Fun. And the Kings 11-2, number 20 in the nation. Um, the last of the teams in our region for rankings. Uh, so obviously, big for the Chicago teams there as far as how this weekend plays out. We've got more top 20 teams that we got to play this week. We got that. Show the screen. So we got that this weekend. Next weekend, though, as a reminder, Motorsports Night, big event. It's definitely one to come out to. You still got a week to get your plans for travel. Saturday night, February 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have our first celebrity player, um, ARCA and NASCAR driver Brayton Laster. If you didn't already see, he actually posted this week, and congratulations to Brayton on this. He has officially been approved now to run at a higher series level. So he can now run the O'Reilly Auto Parts NASCAR series. So he's looking hopefully to do that. If we could do that at some of the Indianapolis racetracks, or maybe run the trucks at our you know sponsor for the event, Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park (IRP). Maybe he could be running the trucks there this year. That'd be awesome. We definitely love to be a part of that too. Um, but IRP is presenting Motorsports Night. Um, but Brayton now has the chance to drive the what back in the day used to be the Busch Series cars, just one step below the Cup Series. So that's a huge step. Obviously, congratulations to Brayton on that. And we hope and we wish him the very best, and hope to see him compete in that O'Reilly Auto Parts series at some point this year, and the Truck Series too, some point this year too. He's approved to run that as well. But he's also approved to be a celebrity professional basketball player. That is what he will be doing next Saturday, the 28th. He will be a official Hoosier State Instigator as our very first celebrity player. So we're really excited for that. We're gonna have a ton of fun. Think we're probably gonna have a show car, take some cool photo opportunities, and we are planning on doing some giveaways. There might be some just motorsports related stuff. There might be some posters, just a lot of cool stuff that we have in store for this weekend or next weekend, but for this event. So we're really looking forward to that. I'll be up there, so I hope to see you all there. um, we still got a week to plan it out if you need to figure out your travel plans, but I'll be there for sure. So that's, again, we'll see how that plays out with flights and stuff for next weekend as far as this podcast goes. Um, but we're definitely going to be active next weekend with Motorsports Night. It'll be really fun. This theme night, and having our first celebrity player. I think that's going to be a huge step in Instigators history, to have that. Um, but that's next Saturday, February 28th, 7 p.m., Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana. You can get your tickets scanning the QR code. Go on our website, insigatorsbasketball.glide.page. You can get them there. And, whatever you do, make it out there. It's going to be a huge event, lots of fun. And really, it's going to be a big game, not only for that reason, but it's also our last home game, a last scheduled home game of the regular season. It's our last game of the regular season. Playoff implications on the line. Um, you know, Lots and lots of reasons to be there and go and cheer on the Instigators. So I hope to see you all at that game. But it'll be a lot of fun. I'm super stoked to be a part of this, and I'm really looking forward to that. But we've got this weekend a couple of games, tough games. First, Windy City Inferno tomorrow at 2:30. Then we've got the Ohio Kings at home, um, on Sunday at 4:30. So two tough games against two top 20 opponents will be important as far as the playoffs go, as far as standings. Also going to be scoreboard watching some of these other games. And I'll probably be catching the Minotaur stream too for the Legends and Lions game. And be trying to catch our stream on Sunday too, between our game with the Kings. But that's what we got for this week, getting you guys caught back up and taking a look as we go into the final weeks of the ABA season, regular season, I should say, regular ABA season. So just a reminder, the regular season wraps up on March 1st. So March 1st, all the regular season games got to be played. So that leaves you this weekend and next weekend. And that is it. Then the weekend following will be playoffs. So you have the play-ins and the first round of playoffs. That weekend, March 6th through 8th. 6th is the Friday, 7th Saturday, 8th on Sunday. So really after this weekend, you're going to have kind of a clear idea as far as these scenarios go with the playoffs. We'll try to get you all prepped with that. And also, don't forget, we've got that game you can play as well, Hoosier State Simulate, where you can be in charge of your own team, draft a team, and simulate your way to victory in that. But we've got two games this weekend, one game next weekend. We're at 7-4. This could very well be our first winning season. With three games, there is the possibility that we lose out and we don't do that. If we win even one of these games, we will finish with a winning record. And I believe that is the first time we will do so in the regular season. Being in our third season. But I think the goals that we had to set off for this season was obviously to make the playoffs. We're pretty good. We kind of control our own destiny when it comes to that. So hopefully we can do that. And then also having our best record, a winning record, is and then obviously trying to get ranked. Didn't accomplish doing that this year. But even if we can knock out two of those, I think that's good. And then obviously once we get into the playoffs, then it's a whole new mindset, and it is to win every single game in the playoffs. But we'll break that down next week, or maybe the week following, and have all that kind of squared away for you as we jump into the transition period from regular season to postseason. But that is going to be it for tonight's episode 120 of Instigate Success, Building an ABA franchise. Thank you all for joining us again here on a Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, for your official podcast of the Hoosier State Instigators. Two big games this weekend. Keep an eye on a scoreboard watch across the league, especially in our division. And hopefully things all play out our way. But hopefully we can go and pick up a win against a ranked team. But until next time, as always, be great and instigate.